Okay, just a quick summary. When it comes to choosing the correct t-value, you need to know two pieces of information, generally speaking, in order to pick the correct t-value. You need to know the degrees of freedom, which for t-tests for one sample is the same as it was before for confidence intervals, n minus 1. So if you had a sample size of 26, you would be pulling, n minus 1 would be 25, you'd be pulling your t-value from the row labeled 25 degrees of freedom. If your sample size is 19, you'd be pulling from the row labeled 18, n minus 1, 19 minus 1 is 18, and so on. So the first piece of information you need in order to choose the correct tabled t-value is degrees of freedom. The other piece of information is the task at hand. However, previously, the task at hand was relegated to confidence intervals because that's what we spent this past week working on, is confidence intervals. Now, the task at hand is a little bit more complicated to zero in on. You first need to determine whether your test requires a two-tailed test or a one-tailed test. So you need to know whether you're doing a one-tailed test versus a two-tailed test. That will dictate which column your t-value will come from, table t-value. In addition to whether you need a one-tailed or a two-tailed test, you also need to know how large the tail is, how large the critical region, the rejection region, the tail. And as you can see from the t-table, you have some pre-programmed options. For example, a two-tailed test at the 0.2 level, a two-tailed test at the 0.1 level, two-tailed test at the 0.05 level, and so on. Also, that the very small symbol right before the word level, if you're looking at the t-table in the gray shaded area, up here in the gray shaded area, if you're looking at the either the two-tailed test or the one-tailed test line, you'll see a symbol that looks similar to this. That is referred to as alpha, the alpha level. It simply means the rigor of our test, which is also the size of the tail / critical region / rejection region. Sorry, I know that's a lot of writing, but that's the alpha level. So the tail, in essence, the tail has a lot of different names. We can refer to the tail of the t probability distribution as the tail. We can refer to it as the rejection region. We can refer to it as the critical region, and we can refer to it as the alpha level. The alpha level is the size of your critical region. And it also represents the rigor of the test, how difficult it is to reject a null hypothesis by chance. So those were a lot of segments having to do with how to pick the correct tabled t-value. Next, I'm going to discuss how to calculate data-generated t-value, but we will begin with the t formula.